Okay. Hello, my name is Ryan, and I am refuting Natalie's claim that listening to modern music disrupts the learning process. Her secondary claims were that the Mozart effect fails with contemporary music. The second secondary claim, human attention is limited while working on a specific task. Third, listening to music while studying or whatever does not allow the student to focus on the information being read or studied. I have my main claim to counter her claim is that this is a sweeping generalization, and I'll follow this up with three counterclaims. First, the Mozart effect hasn't been extensively proven to exist. The original study was done in 1993, and they had people listening to Mozart for 10 minutes, and they had them do specific tasks such as folding paper and doing other simple tasks. And then the whole hoopla was that, listening to Mozart enhances your cognitive abilities. But a study done in 2010 titled Mozart Affects Mozart Effect, a meta-analysis by Drs. Petzing, Vorosek, and Foreman from the University of Vienna said these findings turned out to be amazingly hard to replicate, thus leading to an abundance of conflicting results, and that, on the whole, there is little evidence left for a specific performance-enhancing Mozart effect. Another study founded by Christopher Chabris of the University of Harvard concludes from another replicate experiment that this enhancement is essentially restricted to a single task, is 1/4 of large of that originally reported for a broader class of cognitive abilities, and is not statistically significant. Additionally, an experiment done in 2002, featured in the British Journal of Developmental Psychology, had the results that groups performed similarly in the control test and the experimental test, irrespective of whether they listened to Mozart or to popular dance music. Second counterclaim is that humans can perform specific tasks while being exposed to background conditions. An experiment published in 2010 in an academic journal titled Learning, Media, and Technology reported that during a test of silence versus background multitasking, which is listening to TV or listening to music, there was no significant difference in reading comprehension scores among participants in the silent condition and the background condition. Additionally, they stated, when we compared the reading... Oh, that's irrelevant, sorry. They further state that multitasking is possible when a low-element interactivity task, such as reading, is coupled with another low-element interactive task or a high-interactive task with a low-interactive task. So high-interactive task would be like doing something complex, and low would be doing something like reading. So if you're doing two lows together, or high and a low together, it works, but two highs doesn't work together. Number three, my third counterclaim is any disrupting effects listening to music are dependent upon the type of music. Dr. Lee, Lin, and Robertson, in a study about the impact of multitasking, say that it is far easier for a student to listen to a lecture with low interactive elements in the background, such as soft music or chatting, as opposed to sitting on with high interactive elements, as I stated before. Also, in a study about early adolescent musical preferences and minor delinquency, there were significant finds about the effects of different types of music. They state that fans of heavy metal music have been reported in literature to have more problems with school authorities and teachers than students who are not fans of that type of music. Therefore, that is more disrupting to the learning process than actually listening to the music. So the type of music is more disruptive and has causes more complex behaviors. They also refer that in a study in which adolescents preferred heavy metal and rap music compared to those who preferred other types of music, results indicated that the former consistently showed below average current and elementary school grades with a history of counseling in elementary school for academic problems. Also, it states, previously theorizing on the link between musical preferences and problem behavior has assumed that musical taste would reflect a problematic social position, so lack of school commitment or academic achievements. And lastly, they also state, in the same lecture, heavy metal music listening has also been associated with increased depression, delinquency risk behavior, smoking, and conduct problems, which can also disrupt academic behaviors. So finally, with my claims that the Mozart effect isn't proven to exist, and that humans can multitask, and that the disruption of the learning process is dependent upon the type of music, I claim that her listening to Mozart music disrupts the learning process is a sweeping generalization. A lot of evidence on Mozart. And she's commercialized.
All right, Ryan. Well, the structure is pretty easy to follow. It's a little bit confusing because you spend so much time talking about the Mozart effect, which is not really the crux of the advocate's argument. I mean, in essence, if you took the Mozart effect out of the advocate's argument, it really comes down to this notion that says that listening to modern music disrupts the learning process. Whether or not the Mozart effect has a positive effect, I think it would be perfectly acceptable if the advocate said, came up and conceded, listening to any music is problematic because it's a distraction. So spending your time just kind of poo-pooing the Mozart effect, I'm not sure that gets you that much more. The stronger argument, the one that I thought that you had the best information on, the clearest explanation on, was that when we have these low intensity or low element tests, when we get tasks that people are doing, is the low and the low complement each other, it's not that big a deal. Or if it's a high task and a low, that's not such a big deal. That's one study that's getting that result. I guess probably doing calculus while listening to heavy metal music would be a bad idea. Reading while listening to some kinds of music might not be problematic. Heavy metal music apparently appears to be on the outs, regardless of anybody. I think, on the heavy metal music, for instance, I think if I was the advocate, I'd stand up and say, yep, heavy metal music sucks, but that doesn't necessarily prove that other kinds of music don't also suck, which seems like the inference that you're making here. So I think you're kind of making the same mistake on that end of the argument as she's making with the Mozart argument on the first part. So you're both basically kind of getting drawn off of the issue by a different form of music. And the one in the middle is the one that I think gives you the clearest conflict with her argument. All right, thank you.